Previously on Backpacker Diaries.
And I'm up here near Banff, Alberta, and I scored a permit to enjoy the Sawback Trail this week over 5 nights, 6 days. Today is August 28th, 2017. Yesterday, with the side trip up to Hidden Lake, I covered about 10 kilometers. Enjoyed meeting a few nice folks at the campsite there by Hidden Lake. And this morning, was fortunate to meet Zenit from Vancouver, who actually maintains his own blog and is an accomplished backcountry hiker in his own right, having crossed over the Boulder Pass in Montana on my last trip in Glacier National Park. Today, I am going up and over the other Boulder Pass here in Alberta. I've got roughly 12 kilometers to make it to the Wildflower campground. The scenery here is really no less spectacular than the American Boulder Pass, and we'll see how I go on my way to the Wildflower campground.
Bright the city, how black the hills, how dark the skies, how blow the winds across the canyon, how cool the stream, how warm the stones, how lush the trees, how blow the winds across the canyon.
Down here on the shores of Baker Lake, where I've been hearing about some grizzly activity over the last week or so. But to help me along as a solo hiker, I've also got some music playing out loud here. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled for a sow with her 2 cubs here. When I was up at the top of Deception Pass there, I encountered 2 young guys who were out for a couple nights and in the process of enjoying one of those 750 milliliter bottles of Maker's Mark. And not only that, but one of the guys had lost the safety for his bear spray. So as it turned out, I got hit by some friendly fire, or some tipsy fire, you might call it. And the guy hosed himself pretty good with his own bear spray there. It'll probably be a dark stain on his t-shirt that he was wearing. But still feeling the tingling on the lips from that. Really glad that I had my sunglasses on while I was chatting with those guys. But just let that be a lesson to you. If you're going to be going into grizzly country with your bear spray, just make sure you have that safety on, especially if you're hitting the sauce out on the trail.
I raise my face to the moon, my arms spread wide as I take in deep the mountains' breath. A night bird's song, the river's cry, and the day's last breath.
Totally just spotted the sow I was hearing about with one cub right down there. It's my first time seeing grizzlies this close, but not too close. Pretty exciting seeing a sow with two cubs here, not too far from Baker Lake. I was warned that the trail to Wildflower Campground does get a little faint and overgrown in this sort of swampy area. There's a trail that meanders off across the drainage there, but I'm thinking that this trail, as sort of faint and overgrown as it is, will be my best option for now. So just know that if you're hiking on the trail between Wildflower Campground and Baker Lake Campground. It's also told there's a water hazard coming up today or tomorrow, so before or after this Wildflower Campground, so we'll see how it goes. Happens to be the most remote part of this Sawback Trail that goes between Banff and Lake Louise. Still plenty of daylight left though, enough time to get lost and correct myself if need be. The path seems clear enough so far, but we'll see how it goes. Now it's just a faint, sort of mashed down trail through the grass here that I'm following. Today's August 29th, 2017. Enjoyed a quiet night here at the Wildflower Campground last night. Met a group of French backpackers, a couple of which had been woofing here in Canada for most of this year. So it's great to have some company here in the grizzly country. Speaking of grizzlies, I had my first grizzly sighting yesterday in the meadow southeast of Baker Lake, where it started turning back into sort of mixed forest there. In the middle of the meadow is where I saw a sow and two cubs sort of frolicking in the creek and running around. One of the most impressive things was just how fast they were able to run. Wasn't quite expecting that, or hadn't really put that in context yet, even though I had heard that they could be very quick animals. Once I got to the campsite here, I discovered that there was a more established trail leading west from the campground to where I came from yesterday. So the route I chose definitely was not the easiest necessarily. I've also heard that I have about 3 kilometers of similar terrain today on my way to Pulsatilla Pass, and about 15 kilometers and change to get to my next campsite there near Llewellyn Lake at Johnston Creek campsite. So I don't surprise any grizzlies, I'll keep that music playing out of the speaker on my phone and see how I go. Wasn't expecting to see a deer here. First deer I've seen on this trip. Keep an eye on that laundry, because wildlife like that loves to take off with some salty underwear, maybe some socks that are hanging out to dry. Yeah, see, he's licking his lips there. Ready to clean up the campsite, apparently. Or maybe just take off with some dirty laundry. I've already got mine strapped to my pack. Making my way up Wildflower Creek along the trail here, and it's starting to get ambiguous in the upper section of the meadow. Somebody did set up some rock cairns here So I'm going to keep an eye out for those and hope for the best. As I climb out of the Wildflower Creek drainage here, the wildflowers include many of the usual suspects in this part of the Rockies. We've got Arnica montana here, and the purple flowers being the fireweed, as well as plenty of the other purple ones being the aster, as well as the Indian paintbrush. So a nice variety of wildflowers here. Probably past the prime of their bloom here at this elevation, but that may change as I get higher up. Spotted a marmot on the move near Pulsatilla Pass. It's a big one too. Also spotted a ptarmigan. Appears to be pretty smoky out today too, so wondering if the forest fires have picked up. Hopefully there's none on the north side of Banff. There were some closures south of the Sunshine Meadows ski area, which is a popular trailhead for accessing the Mount Assiniboine area and others, including the Great Divide Trail. Be curious to know how the forest fire situation has changed. Just here enjoying the Johnston Creek campground. It's actually got maybe the nicest kitchen I've seen so far. Fires are prohibited at the moment with the wildfire issues they've been having this summer. In spite of the smoke, still enjoying the amenities here.
On the next Backpacker Diaries.
I've got a short day, only about 8.5 kilometers to get down to Larry's camp. So I'm going to take some time to enjoy the short side trip up to Llewellyn Lake, where there's another campground there. Fingers crossed that the smoke will clear a little more once it's time to cross over the third of 3 mountain passes tomorrow on my way to Mount Northway. If you look closely, you can see where the water is bubbling up from the bottom.